Okay, so today is day 62, being housed. It is Thursday, October the 16th, 2025, and I was just uploading the videos that I recorded at 5 this morning, and I found like the whole procedure of recording the videos and then uploading them right away. That seems to be a really wise and efficient thing to do, and this is a strategy I'm going to adopt and continue with, and this will ensure that less videos get missed or lost in the shuffle, and that I'm utilizing my time in a very we could just say sensible and efficient way. I'm quite pleased. This is part of growth. It's all going through it experientially, learning as you go, taking forth with you what's working and leaving behind what's not working, and I'm quite pleased with it. I'm very happy. But anyway, so these were the abuse videos 1 and 2, when I talked about, I actually did more of an exploration and a detailing of all the different facts that have arisen. So not just the various attacks from the owner's mother, and we could even include like the last place where I was at, but for that specific video, it's about the attacks like since I've been at this place with the owner's mother, and how they've evolved, the patterns that have been noted, the various conversations with the owner's mother, and like the way she's like saying things to me, the way she's communicating, the things that are in her heart, and then also the two conversations that I had with the owner himself after probably like the 4th or 5th or 6th attack from the owner's mother. And then the information that he provided, he generously provided about her going to him with all these things from the onset, and complaining about me. So she was going to him and complaining about me at the same time, like verbally assaulting me as well. And so then so his perspective from it, and then also the resolution that he thought of, the resolution that I agreed with, and then a week later the continuance of this behavior. So I took all that into consideration, and I've taken so the whole point though that I want to talk about is I think it's been sufficiently captured. That was my goal. That was my aim. I talked a little bit about this when I was at the park. This would have been probably back in July. And I talked about my cousin. This would be one of the first abuse talks. And how my cousin, she almost came to a fatal end. So this is very important. These things need to be taken very seriously. I find that they're seldom taken very seriously. It's more transient. People will say, oh yeah, this is terrible, and then a distraction comes up, or they get focused on something else, and these things they're not held with the utmost sensitivity and seriousness, and but the results of these things are occurring behind closed doors all the time, and then you're seeing the residual effects of these things all around us in our society. And anyways, pardon me, with my cousin, when she was so kind to share, that abuse that was occurring behind closed doors with her now ex-husband, and the domination from him. But it started out slow with manipulation. And if she'd bring things up, he would lash out at her, tell her she was crazy. And then it was, he became very controlling. And then he became very dominating. And I still recall when she sat and she looked at me and she said, after she had made the choice to swallow a bunch of things to bring about, something fatal, she said that she said that he looked at her and he said, so he looked at her and he said, you deserve this. And she's like, before she said that, she's like, you won't believe that he said this, but I'm going to say it. He said, like, you deserve this. You brought this on yourself. And he had a smirk on his face. And then when she said that, I was thinking, and I said to her, I was like, oh no, I totally believe that. I've had that happen many, many times. many, many, many times. And and so this is what I feel needs to be brought to the light. I realize that many people have never been exposed to this, and like just like she was kind of a little reluctant to share this with me because she was thinking, you're not going to believe this, like this did happen, but you're it's going to sound so far-fetched. For me, yeah, this is normal. I was exposed to this all through my childhood, and still am. It's not as severe, like even here or in the last place I was at, but it's still pretty severe. And these attacks, they're, when you talk to the people, like I had that wonderful opportunity to talk to the person in the summer, and that was actually in the unhoused or homelessness day 9 video. I talked a little bit about this. So on July 31st, 2025. But anyways, I actually had an opportunity to sit down with a person after they dominated me and viciously, and then ask them what they remembered of it. And they just said, oh, no, I just had a conversation with you. You misinterpret things. You're the problem. You have you're something to do with your imagination. You just always like to make yourself like a victim. And they said it with such certainty. And I was like, you do realize, like, I've already shared with you guys, because of like the constant attacks, like I record most of our conversations for this specific reason. And the person said, well, that's what you need to do. You feel you need to do. And, like, virtually, like, they feel bad for me. And I said, but that being said, like, this is recorded. We don't have to go by what you're saying or by what I'm saying. Would you like to listen to it? Do you remember, like, you made fun of me? And they got really angry and said, I'd never make fun of you. That's just what you're thinking. I said, no, you did, but that's okay. We can just listen to it? And he said, yeah, I'd love to. So we did. And that was one of the best experiences I can honestly say I ever had. We listened to it. They looked at me and they said, oh my goodness, I can't get over how angry I was. And I was like, do you realize, like you're also, like, you make fun of me, like you're picking on me? And they said, I didn't do that. And I was like, okay, well, let's just rewound it. And they looked at me and they said, oh my goodness, I did make fun of you. But they didn't apologize, and they didn't even acknowledge, like, that it was wrong what they're doing to me. All they said was, oh my goodness, this is bad for my health. This reveals a lot about the wickedness in that heart and the darkness in that heart. And this is what I desire to bring out into the open. And for it's not just for my cousin, it's for everyone that's been dominated by this spirit behind closed doors, through these various vessels, to let everyone know you're not alone. There's hope. Jesus is real. And these things are of a dark kingdom. And, but the tragedy is you can feel so imprisoned, and it gets worse and worse and worse. And it's like you're being bullied by people that are extremely weak. They're like children inside. And once they start picking on you, all they care about is their image out in public. And they couldn't care about what they're doing to the people behind closed doors. But if you get to the source or to the core of how they think and what they believe, all they really care about too is, if any of these things get brought up, all they want to talk about is all the bad things that happened to them when they were younger, which is terrible. And I'm definitely speaking against that. But they never come to the realization that the ones that they're complaining about, they look exactly like them. So it's similar to, like, it'd be like talking to a vampire that's complaining about, Dracula biting them. And then you're looking at them and saying, but you go around and bite everybody, then them lashing out at you and saying, oh, that's what you believe. That's all in your head. They just don't see the reflection in the mirror. And it's like they're dead. It's literally like they're walking around and they're dead, meaning they don't, like, they're spiritually dead. They do things and they don't even realize that they're doing them. So if they don't realize that they're doing them and they're doing these things, then who's actually doing these things through them, you know? And that's why there seems to be absolutely no accountability. And so anyways, and I don't mean to attack anybody. This is to bring these things, if anything, I want to see people saved. I want to see people like those that are being attacked behind closed doors, to know that there is help, there is hope. And once these things get brought out to the open, it's just like anything else. Once you know, a disease or a plague is recognized and it's acknowledged, well, then it can be taken seriously. So anyhow, but I feel like I've taken like a very pragmatic approach with all of this. And like this morning, I just did the recount after. I'm just doing the best I can to be respectful, to be loving, to be caring. And while I'm here, and obviously I note that I'm being taken advantage of. Obviously I note that this behavior is trending. I note these things, but I'm doing the best I can just to you know, do the best I can to bring forth a resolution, and the resolution's not coming. So it's that approach was very pragmatic, and you know, I waited for as much information to come in. I took all that information into consideration, sorted through it, sifted through it, and then this morning I did like a recount of how I feel about these things. But the most important thing is I'm leaving this now, and you're going to see this. It's to leave these things, you have to leave them in your mind. You have to leave them in your thoughts. And you know, it's never about a person. So it's never about standing firm against a person. It's about not coming into agreement with the spirit, or not coming into agreement with the lie. So even where I'm currently at, or we're just talking about everyone that's attacked me, and when I used to attack people too, I had a victim mentality. That's the label we use in the world, but what it really means is I was hurt, and there was things that happened to me that shouldn't have happened, but then I grabbed on to that anger, that hate, and that bitterness, and so the unforgiveness, and then that unforgiveness was like this corrosive poison inside of me, and I felt tortured inside. I felt depressed all the time. I felt, you know, like I lacked purpose. I felt all these different things. I felt disdain. I felt, you know, vapid. I felt deflated. And then I was miserable. But instead of actually addressing anything, I always thought, you don't know what people have done to me. And then I would lash out at certain people. I was wrong. And it wasn't until the Holy Spirit convicted me and I became accountable to God, and the fear of God came over me, that I was able to admit that I was wrong. And the moment I was able to admit that I was wrong was the moment I was able to see things from a different perspective, and to see things more from the actuality in which they're occurring, as opposed to my perspective, which was tainted, especially by heightened emotions. And then I started seeking help. But most importantly, I start seeking to be accountable to God. So I think of like when Jesus says, like, make amends with your adversary while you're on your way to the court. And then at the conclusion of that, he says, like, if you get tossed into jail by the bailiff, you're going to be there and you will pay every last penny. Like, you won't get out until you paid every last penny. I took that very seriously. This is why it's imperative that I'm not only disciplined with my words, but I'm selective with the company that I'm around. Bad company corrupts good morals. What does light have to do with darkness? It will always try to take from you. So anyways, hey, good morning guys, how are you? Always try to take from you. And so I'm accountable to God for my life, and I love all these people. The ones that are being abused, the ones doing the abuse. It's the abuse that I hate. It's the evidence of the abuse that I hate. So, you know, that's what I stand firm against, regardless of what vessel it's coming out of, including myself. So this is a joyful time for me. Thank goodness this is the end of these abuse conversations. Well, it doesn't have to be the abuse conversations. We could always talk about these things as they come up, but my focus is now on the vision that God's put in my heart. But I had to go to those that are in the darkest crevices, and to each of you that's in the darkest crevice, that's being attacked by these terrible, terrible things, and to share a gospel of peace with you. to reveal God's kingdom to you, and and just to whatever you need. If you need like a cup of water, to provide you with a cup of water. If you need, oh goodness, a blanket, to provide you with a blanket. So anyhow, that's I'm looking forward to moving forward. This has been very difficult, but this is what I set out to do. And like I mentioned in the one video with my cousin, she was very brave to share that and to share what took place, and God has brought her through. And but there's a lot of learning that needs to be derived from these things. It's not enough just to look at them and say, oh, this is bad. We need to not like, these things are terrible, these things are this, these things are that. But if we lack the understanding, they're just going to keep happening over and over again. But when we, hey, how are you? 1 second. So, and if it seems like I'm talking rapidly, my hands are freezing. It's so cold right now. It's so cold. But anyhow, I'm just around the corner from the gym. That's that. So now I get to move forward, and I really hope that these videos have brought some of those terrible things that occur in the darkness out into the light. And once again, we need understanding. And also, most importantly, if these things have revealed anything, it's that many people are doing these things to others, and then they deputize, or they have other people that will come into agreement with them and stand firm beside them, and they're be very aggressive towards the symptoms of these things in others, but they're not aggressive towards those symptoms of these things inside their own hearts and inside the hearts of their friends and the ones that are close to them. I'm loyal to the truth. I love God and I fear God. We have to be very careful. God is not partial. And the moment we become partial, we reveal that we're not found in Him and we're not doing His will. We just become another one of the us versus them and a them versus us. And but the true freedom comes when you have the understanding that it's a spirit, coming against another spirit, and and to learn how to talk to people and say, this is not right in the sight of God. Why are you doing this? Because you love and care for the person and you want to see them set free from hypocrisy. God bless you.